Am I the asshole for meticulously planning my husband's downfall after he cheated on me? I never thought I'd be the type of woman to seek revenge. I always believed in forgiveness, in working things out, in trying to salvage a marriage for the sake of love and family. But that was before my husband, Luke, shattered my trust and left me with nothing but anger, bitterness, and an insatiable need to see him suffer like I did. Luke and I had been together for over a decade. We built a beautiful life, had two wonderful children, and from the outside, we were the perfect couple. He was charming, successful, and I had spent years being his biggest supporter, putting my own dreams and ambitions aside to raise our kids and manage our home while he climbed the corporate ladder. Then one day, everything crumbled. I found out about his affair in the worst possible way, by accident. He had been getting sloppy, coming home late, being distant, constantly on his phone with a smirk that wasn't meant for me. I had my suspicions, but I ignored them, convincing myself I was just being paranoid. Then, one evening, he left his laptop open on the dining table, and while walking by, I saw an email pop up from her. The subject line? "Last night was amazing. I miss you already." I froze. My heart started pounding. My fingers moved on their own as I clicked on the email thread, and what I read confirmed everything I feared. Explicit details, plans for the future, complaints about me, his boring wife, the mother of his children. I felt like I was going to throw up. I wanted to scream, to smash his laptop, to confront him immediately, but something stopped me. I didn't want to fight. I wanted justice. So I waited. I played the part of the oblivious wife while I started meticulously planning my revenge. Luke prided himself on being a respected businessman. His image meant everything to him, and I knew exactly how to use that against him. First, I started planting seeds of doubt among his colleagues. Whenever I attended company events or met his coworkers, I would subtly imply that Luke had been acting strange lately. I'd mention that he seemed overwhelmed, distracted, maybe even a little forgetful. I don't know if he's stressed about work or something else, but I've noticed he's been misplacing things a lot lately. He's just not himself. People started noticing. I made sure of it. Then I took it further. I accidentally deleted important work emails, subtly edited crucial documents, and even scheduled fake meetings in his calendar. He started showing up late to things, missing deadlines, fumbling with details he normally had under control. His boss, a strict and no-nonsense man, started losing faith in him. Eventually, it led to him being passed over for a major promotion he had been counting on. The disappointment in his eyes was delicious. Luke had a wide circle of friends, most of whom were mutual. I knew that if I outright told them about his affair, some would sympathize with him, and I didn't want that. I needed them to distance themselves from him naturally. I started inviting our friends over more often, without him. I'd casually mention how Luke had been working late a lot, or spending extra time alone lately. I painted a picture of an absent, neglectful husband. Not a cheater, just someone who was withdrawing from everyone on his own. I don't know. He's been different lately. I try to reach out, but I think he just needs space. I hope he's okay. People started to worry. Then, when the time was right, I let the truth slip to just the right person. The biggest gossip in our group. Within days, the entire friend circle knew about his infidelity, but the beauty of it was that I wasn't the one who told them. They heard it through the grapevine, meaning I got to play the role of the heartbroken victim while they slowly pulled away from him. His once loyal friends stopped inviting him to gatherings. He became an outsider in his own social circle. And I wasn't done. Luke was always reckless with money. He loved luxury, expensive watches, tailored suits, weekend getaways with his buddies, and, as I now knew, fancy dates with her. He made good money, but he spent even better, and that was something I had silently tolerated throughout our marriage. But now, I was going to use it against him. I spent weeks preparing before I made my move. Every night after he went to bed, I quietly gathered financial documents. Bank statements, investment portfolios, tax returns, and credit card bills. I scoured through every single expense, highlighting suspicious transactions and tracking the flow of his money. I found hotel receipts that he had tried to pass off as business trips, extravagant restaurant bills, and jewelry purchases I had never received. The worst part? He had spent our joint money on her. I copied everything, every single document. Then I met with a lawyer, the best one I could find. I told him everything, and together we crafted a plan that would leave Luke with nothing but regret. But I wasn't just going after our money. I was playing the long game. Our home was technically under both of our names, but I knew Luke didn't care about the fine print. So I devised a way to get him to leave voluntarily. One night, I sat him down, pretending to be a broken woman who just needed space. I told him I was devastated, but that I wanted to try and heal. I suggested that, for the sake of our children, he should move out for a little while. I watched as his guilt took over. He agreed almost immediately, probably thinking that this would just be a temporary arrangement. He packed his bags and left without realizing what he had just done. Legally, in my state, once he moved out, I could claim abandonment when filing for divorce. It meant I had a strong case to keep the house and full custody of our children. By the time he figured it out, it was too late. Before I filed for divorce, I discreetly moved as much money as I could into accounts he couldn't touch. I set up separate savings and funneled as much as possible into them. I also stopped contributing to our joint accounts, letting him drain them while I secured my own finances. Then I reported his extravagant spending to my lawyer. Since I had proof that he had used marital funds on his mistress, I was able to argue that he had financially neglected our family in favor of his affair. That gave me leverage to demand a larger share of our assets in the divorce. Luke had terrible financial habits. He loved using credit but barely paid attention to due dates. So I did what any vindictive but strategic woman would do. I stopped reminding him. He had a bad habit of ignoring emails from his bank, so when I secretly unsubscribed him from payment reminders, his bills started piling up. Late fees accumulated. His credit score began to tank. At first, he didn't even notice. Then, one day, his card got declined at dinner with his friends. The humiliation was just the beginning. By the time he realized what was happening, his credit score had plummeted, and he was buried under a mountain of late fees. Then I hit him with the final financial blow: the divorce papers. By the time I officially filed, I had already won. I got full custody of our children. I got the house. I secured a generous amount of alimony and child support. He was left with debt, no home, and no control over his finances. Luke tried to fight it, of course. He tried to claim that I was manipulating the system and that he deserved a fairer share. But the judge didn't see it that way. With all the proof of his affair and financial recklessness, he had no chance. When the final ruling came, he sat there in shock. His lawyer patted him on the back, but we all knew it was over for him. But I wasn't done yet. Luke was a broken man after the divorce. His friends had turned their backs on him, his career was shaky, his finances were in ruins, and now he had lost his family too. But the cruelest irony? His mistress wanted nothing to do with him anymore. When he was successful, charming, and financially stable, he had been an exciting option for her. But now? Now he was just another washed-up man with baggage. It started subtly at first. She became less affectionate, more distant. She stopped making future plans with him. Then she started coming up with excuses. She was too busy to meet up. She needed space, she wasn't ready for commitment. And then one day, she just stopped responding. He was dumped like yesterday's trash. The man who had risked everything for her. The man who had thrown away his wife and children, who had given her expensive gifts and romantic getaways, was now just a pathetic, lonely mess. I didn't find out about the breakup until months later when a mutual friend mentioned it in passing. "Oh, did you hear? Luke's girlfriend dumped him. Poor guy, he's really struggling." I nodded sympathetically, but inside, I was reveling in it. Then, one evening, out of nowhere, he called me. I almost didn't pick up, but curiosity got the best of me. His voice was different. Defeated. Hollow. He begged me to talk. I miss you. I miss our family. I was an idiot. I threw away the best thing in my life, and I don't know how to fix it. I let him talk. I let him spill every ounce of his regret. He admitted to everything: how he had taken me for granted, how he had been selfish, how he had thought he could have it all. And when he was done, when he had nothing left to say, I simply smiled and whispered, "You should have thought of that before you threw it all away." Then I hung up. And for the first time in a long time, I felt free. I know he was the one who cheated. I know he deserved consequences. But did I take it too far? I systematically destroyed every aspect of his life: his finances, his career, his friendships, his new relationship. Some nights I wonder if I should feel guilty, if I let my pain consume me to the point that I became just as heartless as he was. Or did he simply get exactly what he deserved? What do you think? Am I the asshole?